Does anybody here watch The Bachelorettes? May I ask why? I watch it because I live at home to spice up my life. You know, after feeding the cats because my mom's at a temple pool party. I watch The Bachelorettes before I move my dad's underwear to the dryer to make room for my underwear in the washing machine. I watch it after I've closed my car windows for the night in case it rains, because cars used to melt in the sun if you didn't open the windows in 1984. The kitchen smells like chickpea pasta. Man, that show, The Bachelorettes, is so spicy. I just want to set the scene in case it's similar to yours. We only have one TV and it's in the kitchen. No chairs comfortably face the TV. We have hard wooden antique chairs. Honestly, if you have a good finished den with an adult movie style couch setup, you're probably watching the Kardashians. You probably got that set up from the Kardashians as well. It's so inappropriate. They have like little kids. It's appropriate for like Vinny from Jersey Shore to have that set up. But he lives in a small apartment and cries himself to sleep in front of a view of downtown Manhattan, thinking about 9/11. But those are other shows. I'm glad I can't get too comfortable watching The Bachelorettes, though, because it's not a show you want to get immersed in. It's like months without any sex at all. It's just foreplay. If the Kardashians don't mention sex, you can just assume they're having it on the reg. On Jersey Shore, they have sex within hours of meeting. On The Bachelorettes, they have to meet the families first. Like, I know it's a Christian country, but it's not a Catholic country. Okay, having those self-loathing wooden chairs in the house does feel semi-Catholic, even though we're Jewish. It makes The Bachelorettes seem like it's very slutty. Are these ladies slutty? I'm more curious if they're slutty in their own hearts. Before and after the show. Now that America has seen them date 32 guys at once. I mean, it doesn't have to be slutty. Probably they don't have to kiss all those guys the first night. It's like free choice, right? Like, it's not in their contract. That would be illegal. Are they all about free love? Are they like that punk guy in high school who's not actually punk, that dates every girl in the school because they think he's a punk? I would love to know what these ladies' older sisters are like. These ladies definitely filled out an open answer application. God, I would love to read those answers. Weirdly, originally the application for them was to be on The Bachelor. So it was like, I would love to be committed to one man. It was Clayton. Clayton was the one who was like, I was the punk in high school who wasn't a punk, who dated every girl as a punk to fulfill both her sexual experience with the punk fantasies and also her bringing a punk home to meet her parents' fantasy. And it was good training for being a non-punk adult and doing the same thing. Now it's these ladies. I mean, can you imagine fighting with so many other ladies over just Clayton, and then you get your own show with 32 eligible bachelors wanting to date you after you get monstrously dumped in TV finale humiliation? But you still have to wait to have sex. So the last person they had sex with was Clayton, because otherwise they would have gone to the bar that night as celebrities. Now they have to go back to the mansion and go back to Europe and go back to hometowns. They gotta put on more horrific dresses and keep smiling for the cameras to get laid for the second time this year. Are these new guys better than Clayton? I would love to know what the girls think about this. I was a philosophy religion major in college, and my position is that you can't find a better man. Like, just count your blessings and love the man in your life because he's all you need and then some. So it's an interesting way to watch the show. Like, I'm not the only person who thinks this. Like, if they think Clayton is a douchebag, and that guy who mentioned the fantasy suites early is a douchebag, will Tino be a douchebag in the kitchen? Tina will be all like, I'm not doing your cake dishes. There are like 400 of these. I didn't even eat any cake. 90% of my diet is meat. And will Eric be a douchebag about his hairdo in the sack? Like a black lady who's all like, don't touch the hair. I spent like $400 at the salon, babe. Keep your hands anywhere else. Right, like once you feel like you can't find a better man, you stop nitpicking things like whether or not they have a kid and just see positives. Like that they already have a kid and you can be the white mother of a little black lady. Gabby wanted to ask Nate if the baby mama was white or black so badly, probably. She didn't. It doesn't matter. That's a little black lady through and through. She's going to grow up into a black lady. She's going to put you in a state nursing home. She'll only cook you vindictive things. She'll cry that we're not celebrating Kwanzaa just to make you feel bad. She'll pose for TikTok with you only to laugh about you later with all her black lady friends. She's going to talk to black ladies in secret code in the Christmas card. And you can't tell her she has any attitude as a teenager because it's just her personality. Nate seems to know math. He knows there's a 2 out of 32 chance he's going to have to propose to one of these white ladies. An 8 out of 32 chance he's going to have to sleep with one of these white ladies. And a 32 out of 32 chance he's going to blow up his bar reputation after the show as being the most romantic, caring, psycho, phony with a fake kid who the white girls had to reject because they couldn't raise a little black lady. And he not only had ethnic hair that was Nate had hot ethnic hair that was also hipster. How did the girls even decide whose team he was on? That there was drama. I love how the show keeps saying that there's no drama between Gabby and Rachel. As we said in the 90s, yeah, right. Were they even alive in the 90s? Jesse Palmer was. He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, right, there's no drama between Gabby and Rachel. Just because they have the same thick smiles for 99% of the show's airtime doesn't mean there isn't any drama. Did you see the way Rachel grabbed the first rose and beeline to Tino the first night? It was like the morning of December 24th at Target. Who believes a good-looking blonde and a good-looking brunette will ever get along? Did Betty and Veronica get along? But there's no Archie situation here. There are 32 Archies, and the girls have communication. You know, like two girls taking a road trip in the 90s with one girl holding the map. Totally fine. Okay, they weren't alive in the 90s. Jesse Palmer was. He knows what I'm talking about. I feel like such a bad person for feeling like no airtime I feel like such a bad person for feeling like no airtime for drama between the girls is a huge fucking letdown. As soon as they said there was going to be two girls, I was like, fuck yeah, drama. The season finale is coming up, and we've already known who's going to win for years, thanks to reality Steve or whatever, aka Jesse Palmer in his underwear. And this past week, they started showing us more clips, and it didn't seem that dramatic, but real Jesse Palmer on the show promised us loads of drama. So if mega drama doesn't happen, I'm gonna be all like, but you promised! Like it was ice cream after the game, but mommy has a headache. There were so many spoilers for this season, you'd think there wouldn't be any drama when you watch, but there is. There was a wardrobe malfunction for Rachel the first night with her slutty dress. It seemed like she was going to be the good girl with that gown with the grown out highlight looks and that fat face smile we all kind of want at certain points in our life. And it seemed like Gabby was going to be the bad girl with that gravelly voice we all kind of want at certain points in our life. But then we all saw Rachel's undies. Not a good girl anymore, huh? My mom was there with me when it happened. My mom for once was the cool one, and she was like, oh, there are her panties. And I was like, ah! Maybe because my name is also Rachel, and I'm trying not to empathize with her because she's a TV loser. But then as soon as I saw the undies, I was like, no, poor Rachel. I can't remember whether it was before or after the undies sighting when I realized that as a Rachel, I was going to be held accountable in real life for everything Rachel did and did not do, maybe for the rest of my life. Maybe I can exonerate myself here and now for some Bachelorettes Rachel behavior. I noticed right away that Tino doesn't say he's a construction worker. That's what Rachel on this show thought, right? She said he's just my type. He said he works in construction. I also saw the little title on the screen that said he's a general contractor. I've been a professional gardener, so I was like, oh, a general contractor like Dale. We all called him fat behind his back all day. We also called him lazy. We called him a crook. The guys then also told me that they're all the same. General contractors. So if this Rachel had been on the show, I would have been like, oh wow, you're not fat. You've got to be real lazy though. Hopefully not in the sack. But you can't find a better man, so that's okay as well. That also applies to you being a crook. Hopefully it's just like a crook to your sister and not to me. But he did say the three loves in his life are his mom, his sister, and his dog. So hopefully just a crook in the workplace then. Hopefully gone correctly. But then why would he leave his projects to be on the Bachelorettes? Does he even have any work at all? I would also be like, wow, a general contractor with a baby face. They must all really love you, or at least fake hit on you. We met that family. Rachel was surprised somehow they weren't like normal. I would have been on the first night like, oh, a general contractor at 25, so you must have like a whole construction family. Like obviously no one decides at 18 they're going to become a general contractor and then go to school for it. Their dad is like a pediatrician. I can't remember what Eric does for a living, and it doesn't matter. His family has the sickest house in Bachelor Nation I've ever seen. The company knows that, ABC or whatever. They went there when the daffodils were blooming. There was also a Cercis canadensis. I told you I was a professional gardener, right? That's like that tree that's beautiful and blooms around cherry time, but you don't know what it is. So you have to learn more about it. Somehow, but you can't Google it in your heart. You'll just have to admire it and let your love grow in time. Great metaphor. I feel like the theme of this show, I know the girls were picked from last season, so it's kind of random, but they might have been coached a lot and probably not together, so I do feel like the theme is they think they know how to not embarrass themselves on camera, but they don't know how to not embarrass themselves on camera. One of my life mottos is, you're always transparent to somebody. It helps me to lead an honorable life with ethical intentions. They're all like, nobody's gonna notice. Like, nobody's gonna notice that they really like black guys. They like everybody equally. That's how they were coached. I feel like the most drama on the show they didn't show is when Gabby and Rachel divvied up the black guys into teams. It's so hard to tell which black guy likes which girl, like for real. Like, duh, they're all just white women to them. They don't care. Okay? The show gave them one Asian guy to divvy up. Second mayhem. Rachel probably voted Ethan off just to piss off Gabby. Then they had to divvy up the ugly guys. The ugly guys were divvied up equally because... The ugly guys were divvied up equally because both ladies want to show that they have good hearts for ugly guys and then vote them off in the middle, but not right away. They were probably coached that that would look good. They also coached them to give them a fair, in love with you, even if you're ugly, smile, and to give them a rose with enthusiasm. Rachel got an Uggo pretty far. She's not attached at all. Then they go out on a romantic dinner, and he says he's falling in love with her. Remember that expression from Rachel? It's usually when someone says they're falling in love with her, she's like, and it's just like, that's her oh fuck face. If I were a guy in the show, I would have a hard time deciding which team I would want to be on. I'd be like Ethan, probably, who would happily accept a rose from either because that's polite. Here's my thing, okay? Women and men fight a lot, right? And women always start it, right? Okay, we've settled the debate as old as time. Okay. So no matter who these ladies pick to engage them or whatever, if that's the premise of the show, then there's going to be a lot of fighting down the line. So it's not really like which woman do you think is hotter or which woman do you think has a better personality. It's like, who are you going to fight with 99% of the day? Okay, so Gabby is from Illinois. I'd say she's Chicago and Barack Obama aware as like a fighting type. She seems like firm all the time, like a first black president would be. She seems like she could handle a presidential debate. Okay, but we all know women started it, right? So is she going to be a good fight loser? She just seems extremely confident that she is right, like she wants to make healthcare more open or wants to raise minimum wage. Good for her, but imagine it was about moving your shoes to a different part of the house. Rachel, on the other hand, is from Florida. It seems like she is always at Disney World and she is 7 and she also expects to get whatever she wants because she's right, because she's the kid in Disney World. You can't reason with the kid in Disney World. You can't be like, look, it's your bedtime at home. Let's go back to the hotel. They're going to be like, we're in Disney World. This is my childhood. And throw a tantrum in public. The best part of all of this is that the Bachelorettes is like Disney World for Rachel, so she expects this to continue. Gabby is a nurse, so she probably gets into arguments all the time with patients and their families. But never her manager if she's going to stay around for very long. Okay, you are not her manager. You are not a Louise who's 71 with no recognizable facial expressions. You're the guy who comes to visit her patient in the hospital. You're You're the knight in shining armor. She expects you to know that life is fragile, and in every argument you are lucky she is even alive and in good health right now, so count your blessings and take out the trash. Rachel, on the other hand, is a pilot. She doesn't get into any arguments with her co-pilots or her boss because the plane has to run smoothly. She never gets into arguments, right? Wrong. She hears what's going on in the cabin the whole time, and she knows what works. She knows what gets people upgraded to first class. She knows what gets people a window seat. She knows how to switch seats, all right? And the couples always get off the planes together somehow and continue the vacation. So I'd have a hard time picking between Gabby and Rachel. Overall, I think this show's premise is a great idea for the franchise. This Bachelorette series isn't really that different from real life. Like, you walk into a bar and you see two female frenemies sitting next to each other, and as a guy, you have to pick right away. Thank you.